Hi, my name's Nick, and I'm a photography student. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, I already know a lot about photography. Why do I need you to tell me all about it? Well, for starters, I'm not talking about digital cameras, I'm talking about film cameras. In this video, I will be telling you how to make a print and use a contrast filter. Photography started as a temporary aid for artists. It remained that way until the invention of film, which let it be captured on paper. Since then, photography has been used for video, identification, and even animation. All this would not be possible if it weren't for one element that we all take for granted: light. A piece of photo paper has two sides. One side is covered in a silver-filled material called emulsion. When exposed, the silver nabs the light. When you take a picture, your camera lets the light hit the photo paper. After you take the picture, it's time to develop it. If you're on a tight schedule, make sure you have 7 minutes to develop it. The first 2 are spent in the developer. By the time the 2 minutes are up, you should be able to see the picture. After the developer, you put your picture in the stop bath. After 30 seconds, it goes in the fixer, then the permawash, each for 2 minutes. Getting your time right on the fixer is especially important because it gets rid of any unexposed silver. After the permawash, you need to swish it through water to clean it of any stray chemicals. Once you exit the darkroom, you can finally get a good look at your picture. It may look weird, but that's because it's a negative. If you want to know how to make that into a positive, click the link in the sidebar. Now that you are well acquainted with the basics of photography, we will start gearing more towards contrast filters. The first thing you will need is a color negative. If you have ever gotten a disposable camera and had it developed, then the color negatives should have come with the pictures. They will not look a thing like your previous negative. They will be transparent, about an inch high, and have 4 pictures on each negative. The next tool you will need is an enlarger. An enlarger is a complicated machine that focuses light in a downward path. The main piece of it is the condenser head, which contains the light bulb. If the condenser head is pulled up, then the light will spread out more, and vice versa. In the condenser head, there is a piece called the negative carrier. You put the negative into the negative carrier, and the negative carrier into the enlarger. Before you put it in the enlarger, make sure there's no dust on it, because dust can show up as hazy shadows in your final picture. Once in, turn the enlarger on for an indefinite period of time. On the bottom of the condenser head, there is an aperture setting. Turn it to the dimmest setting and use the focus knob to make it as clear as possible. Next, you will need a focus scope. Put the focus scope in the light and look in the far end of it. You should see something like a star. Get as close as you can to it with it still in your vision. When you get close enough to it, you will see a highly magnified piece of your picture. It may be an indistinguishable piece of wall or a logo on someone's shirt. Next, focus it gently until you can see a sandy, grainy texture on it. Once you are there, your picture is grain focused. State-of-the-art digital cameras cannot get that focused. Now turn off your enlarger and grab a piece of photo paper. Right now we will be making a test strip. A test strip is simple to make, but you have to be careful and pay close attention to what you are doing. First, set up your enlarger on the timed setting for about 3 to 5 seconds. If you turn it on now, the light will shine for whatever time you set it up for, and then shut off. To make your test strip, you'll need to place your photo paper in the place where the light will shine. Cover up almost the entire piece of photo paper and turn on the light. Once the light shuts off, pull the cardboard down a little bit and turn the light back on. Do this again and again until you have exposed the entire sheet of photo paper. When you have finished exposing, write some key information on the back, such as your name, the enlarger you used, your aperture, your condenser head height, your exposure time intervals, and other stuff like that. After the picture is developed, it should look something like this. The darkest column will have been the one that was exposed for the longest. Choose your best time and make a print exposed for that amount of time. Make sure you use the same enlarger and aperture. Once you've developed that picture, you might notice that it looks flat. Fixing this flatness is very simple. All you need is a contrast filter. A contrast filter heightens or decreases the amount of contrast in a print. CBS changes contrast in CSI Miami and CSI New York for an unreal effect, but we will be changing for a real effect. There are multiple levels of contrast filters. If your picture is kind of flat, then I'd recommend a 3 or a 3.5. If your picture is pretty darn flat, then use a 4 or a 4.5. Whatever kind you end up using, just make sure there's black, white, and 3 to 4 grays. On the bottom of the condenser head, below the aperture, there is a square piece with a hole in it. The contrast filter fits in there. The next step is to make a test strip using the contrast filter. Beware, a side effect of contrast filters is that they work like sunglasses, so you may want to double your time. Once you have completed your print, you have a new work of art to be proud of. There you go!
And wondering why the world has passed him by.